Your show. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Marcelo. Very exciting to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. I saw the tech crunch you guys raised like 416 million US dollars. Right now value at 12 over 12 billion US dollars right now, and it's like one of the largest unicorn companies in the world. That is very exciting.
Yeah, thank you. It is very exciting.
Yeah.
We
And
don't
I
really,
also
we don't usually have time to celebrate these things.
oh
We got here pretty quickly, I would say, in
just
our
keep going.
history.
Very cool. Yeah. So I know you like you are a graduate from University of Waterloo, right? CS.
I didn't graduate, but I went to University of Waterloo. Yes.
Okay. Well, what happened?
Well, I was working full time and going to school full time, and at some point, I started working at Google, and I
Oh,
was already
cool.
a senior engineer at Google, and I was going to school, and I because of the teams and the projects I was working on, I had to travel to California a lot. So it was very hard to do both at the same time, and I had to pick one, and I picked uh, Google, I guess. And from then on, like I started a company, then I went to work at Square, and Square was very small. And after we built the Cash App at Square, I started Faire, and I guess I never went back to school to finish it.
That's very cool. I know also a lot of people from Waterloo, CS and engineering, they go to do extremely like great stuff, including Vitalik, the founder of Esrim, and also the founder of Impact, Alex, is also from Waterloo Mechatronics Engineering. Maybe like can you give us like our first year like students from University of Waterloo maybe some advice to like maybe to your younger self that what kind of decision would you make to really plan your career and plan your different like major life choices. For example, you dropped out. That's a very major life choices that you made.
Yes. Yeah, I would say like, and I'll obviously talk from my own experience what worked for me, but I feel like in my whole life, I have always followed my passion, and I think that's very important. You need to do things that you really love to do. That's when you do your best work. So I always followed my passion. I was always, again, fortunately for me, I was very passionate about programming from a very early age, and that's what I like to do. And I think uh, every decision I made was always based on like, is this like, is it like, is this what I'm passionate about? Is this what I'm going to like pour my soul into and do my best? And like, like a lot of people talk, especially nowadays, about work-life balance. For me, like, there was never like a separation of those things. Work for me was me doing things that really love to do. Of course, you get paid to do that, and that's a bonus. But like following, like trying to do things that I really want to do and I like to do as a career is what I believe gets you to be most successful. And I always tell people, like, no matter what your profession is, try to find things that excite you, like things that, like, I remember days when in the middle of the night I would have an idea, like 4 a.m., and I would jump out of bed and go to the computer and start programming because I was so excited to build it, right? And then, like, when you found something that you're that passionate about, like, it's, I don't know, that's the best way for you to be successful at anything, I would say.
Yeah, that is true because like when you realize how much impact this can make, you just like um so really know your like motivation and just chasing it.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, of course, I talk a lot about like programming and computer science, software engineering, etc., because that's what I was very passionate about. But it's in everything. And in the computer science, software engineering area, I feel like, especially because technology is such a hot market nowadays, like for the past
Yeah, I
many
think yeah.
years in the past, too many people go into this area just because they believe it's a good profession, right? It's not that they really are passionate about it or want to do it, and then like it even though it's a good profession, you can make decent amounts of money. It's still very hard. Like programming, it's a hard job. Like if you, I always say that sitting on a computer in the morning every day and like programming for like 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, it's extremely hard. Like even if you are extremely passionate about it and you love doing it, there are days that it's super hard. So I can't even imagine somebody trying to do it full time if they don't have that passion, right? If they're not excited about it, they don't really love it. And then again, you can
Mhm.
translate that to any other area, but it's especially very applicable to software engineering and
Yeah.
computer science.
I mean, I want to understand better, like, what's really the motivation of like everything, because even like any movement of human body require dopamine. So that's the motivation that we need to have. But the true motivation, maybe like, do you love the logic of computer science, the beauty of the logic, the beauty of writing stuff, or do you interested in the impact? Of computer science that potentially changing every traditional industry.
Yeah, I think for me, like from the early days, like me, I, I started using a computer. I was like 11, 12 years old, or a little older than that, maybe. But it was always the challenge of like you can do a lot with a computer, and like, but like when you start and you don't know anything and you're really raw, every little step is a challenge, right? And I think I'm really passionate about challenges. I would say that's what I get motivations from. Uh, like I would like initially it was just like, can I actually program anything? Right? I didn't know. I barely knew English. I didn't know any programming language. Could I learn enough about a programming language to build anything that a computer would understand? That was like a very simple challenge. And then like over the years, as you progress in your career, like and you start to build software and you build something simple, and then like at some point it was like, can I build a whole mobile app all by myself? Or like at some point in my career, I worked a lot with networking, and I was like, I had no idea how to build anything that like make a computer talk to another computer over the internet, right? So could I learn enough about how to do those things? And this again, we're talking about a time like 15, 20 years ago when like things were not as easy to do as today, right? There wasn't proper documentation and APIs and so on. So like it was a lot more challenging to like build something on top of a TCP stack to get a server communicating with a client or vice versa. So for me, like the fact that I knew it was possible to do with a computer and like I had no idea how, but like figuring out how to do it on my own and building something that's going to be useful was always like an exciting challenge, and I wanted to do more and more of that. And eventually, like as you learn to do these types of things, putting it all together and actually building something that will add value to other people's lives.
Yeah, that is very very exciting. Very very cool. Let's move on to the second question. So it's really related to the previous question, which is like, what do you think are the external factors and internal factors that enable you to become successful? Because it's very hard for like it's very hard to build such big company that tackle a huge marketplace and compete everyone else. That's a very very hard challenge. How do you guys manage to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, let's again, it's a double question, right? External and internal factors. Let's start with internal factors. I think I have always been a yes person. Like I I think opportunities we have opportunities in life all the time, and sometimes they're good or bad opportunities, but we never know until we properly explore them, right? And I believe I have always said yes to everything. I remember some of my previous managers in like many years ago when they were giving me feedback. The feedback was like, "You say yes to everything. Like you should say no more often." But like I always like to explore opportunities, whether it's like another job or like just another project or potential for learning something new. I always chase those things. That's I guess part of my personality, and I think again you're going to fail a lot, and you're going to say yes to things that you might regret later. But I feel that those are all learning opportunities, and I've always been a risk taker as well. I feel like we can get too comfortable, right? So a good example of this, for example, I was I mean, I joined Google. It was for me for many years, especially like coming from Brazil, like very far, like not knowing English for a long time. Like working at a company like Google was a dream, right? And I got there, and it was a dream. It was like I loved it. It was amazing to be in a company. I worked on very exciting projects there. But then I had again opportunities came knocking, and I was like, okay, now I could start a company, and that sounded like a big challenge and a very exciting thing to do. I had no idea how to build a company, uh, but like it would be very easy for me to say no. I will stay here and keep doing what I'm doing. I will have definitely like looking at the future. I'll have a great career here. Like I'll keep growing. I don't know how fast or not I'm going to grow, but I had a pretty good idea of where I would be. I don't know, projecting 5 or 10 years in the future if I stayed at Google. It was a great place, right? It's a place that many people would be extremely happy to have it as an opportunity. But like I was like, but I have the opportunity to leave and try something and like project that 5 years in the future. It can be something very big and make a huge impact, or not. But if it's not, worst case, like if completely fails, I'm gonna learn a lot, and I know that I can come back to Google, like
Yeah.
or a company similar, and like potentially in a better position, right? So for me, I was like, I had no question in my mind that that was the right thing to do, and this is one example. But I feel like in my life, I have always chased bigger and bigger challenges, and I wasn't really risk averse, and that again, I don't think this is for everybody, but this is definitely a thing that worked very well for me. Now, when it comes to external factors, it's similar in the sense that again, it's you opening doors for yourself, right? Like uh, so when I continuing that story there of like me leaving Google, I started a company. First company I have, it's not fair. Like it didn't go very far. We failed to build a business. We had a cool product. We knew how to build technology, but there was a lot missing on the other side of building a business, building a product. Uh, but the fact that I did that again, I learned so much, and I learned what I didn't know. I learned what I was lacking. Right? I learned that if I wanted to build a business, I needed to learn a lot about how to build a business and not just the technology side of it. So I went looking for opportunities that would help me learn what I didn't know. And I mean, I got lucky as well, but it's luck is combined with you looking for it, right? So Square was hiring, and I got connections with people that were working there, that worked with me in my career at Google and other places. And uh, for me, it was like, oh, Square is this hyper growth startup. It's growing very fast. They supposedly know what they're doing. Like the founder, Jack Dorsey, has built another successful company in the past with Twitter and many failures before. So the experience is there. And it was a great opportunity for me to learn the things that I was missing. And like, again, I embraced it without any question. Like, this is definitely what I need to do. And then being in an environment like that, with like a hyper growth startup that knows how to build product, knows how to find product market fit, etc., was definitely uh, extremely important factor in my success today, in our success as a company today. I think a lot. It helps us when, as we built Faire, we knew a lot of the things that work. We also knew things, we learned things that potentially we didn't like as much, and we tried to do differently. But like we had seen it being applied in a very successful, an
Yeah.
extremely successful company. So that also helped a lot.
Mhm. I also saw your like Y Combinator article that wrote about how to build like scale with the engineering team. So that is
Yeah,
very
it was
cool.
released yesterday.
Yeah, that is very cool and very insightful. Um, yeah. The next question is: do you think the University of Waterloo helped you to achieve your success? And if yes, what resources would what at Waterloo would you recommend to the first year students?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think the University of Waterloo specifically is an amazing place. If especially like in technology, but in many other areas as well. And it's not something I wouldn't say it's something specific on like the programs or things that happen at University of Waterloo, but I think the environment is amazing, right? It pushes you to learn on your own. You have learned. I think at university, learning how to learn on your own is a very important skill, and University of Waterloo is a great place. They really push you towards that direction of like figure things out on your own. Like you have to grow up and figure out what's important. Of course, the people there, like you can get amazing connections. Like the fact that, of course, the co-op program at University of Waterloo is one of the most successful in the world, right? And like the fact that your peers there, the students, your colleagues, uh, during their life at University of Waterloo, they get to experiment tons of companies across Silicon Valley, Europe, North America, Canada. Uh, the fact that you're connected to people that experiment all these environments is a huge resource, right? Like, I don't know, like maybe you're passionate about a specific company. It could be like a large one like Google or Apple, or a smaller one. You definitely can meet people at the university that have done a co-op term there or applied at least and went through interviews, and you get to share a lot of those experiences, right? And you get exposed to all of these environments as well. So for me, for example, when I got to University of Waterloo, one of the reasons why I chased University of Waterloo is because when I came to Canada many years ago, like more than 20 years ago, at that time, my goal was like to work for a company like Microsoft. They were like the biggest, most successful technology company at the time. And like I was reading a book on Microsoft, and the book was talking about how Microsoft has all these co-ops from this University of Waterloo in Canada, and they actually treated the co-ops from University of Waterloo specially. They had a W in their employee ID so that people knew they were from University of Waterloo. And I was like, wow, why is this university so special? Right? And like that is one of the reasons why I wanted to come to the university. And again, when you go to that university, you get connected to people that have been at companies like Microsoft. You get to learn a lot more, and that I believe is extremely
Yeah.
helpful.
Do you think at the university, which is the most important? Is it academic or is it the connection to people? Because Elon Musk once said that like university is basically a place to a social place for people to meet, connect with people, whether it is in terms of finding friends, finding girlfriends, or have finding industry connections. How do you think? Like, what is university? Is it really a place to study, or do we need to study, or we should study our own and find like use university as a place to
No,
reach
I
out to
think
other people?
definitely. I think it's a combination of everything, right? It's just like a huge and very important life experience to go through university. Uh, like it wouldn't be helpful if you went to a university where there's a lot of social there. You meet a lot of people, but the academics are not strong enough, right? Like it's not as helpful. Like the beauty of a university like University of Waterloo is that the academics are extremely strong, right? And that's why they have all these companies from Silicon Valley and other places like travel to Waterloo to interview the co-op students and then eventually interview new grads. The academics are very important. For me personally, like have always been very focused on applied stuff, right? So uh, it, it's a hard balance, like especially on university, because university has a harder time teaching you things that are extremely applicable today, especially when you're talking about a field like technology that changes so fast. It's very hard to have courses there that are applicable to today's world when today, the world's changing so fast when it comes to applicable software engineering, like languages, frameworks, etc. So, but having these strong academics is what like gets smart people to be even smarter. Like as I talked earlier, to learn how to learn, right? To figure out how to learn how to figure out things on your own. And the university is extremely, if you take it serious and you are successful at the university environment, you become very good at that. And that's again a very important skill into applying things. For me, like when I hate to learn things just for the sake of learning. Right? I don't want to have this baggage of knowledge that I know things but I don't know how to apply it. For me, and that's why I have always worked and studied at the same time. If I need to build something, as I talked about, if I have a challenge and I need to build something, and in order to build that thing, I need to learn things. I will learn it. Like I will do whatever it takes to learn the things that I need to learn. If I'm just learning things because so that I know them for one day and I might be able to use it, I have a much harder time like getting motivated to learn. So for me, again, being able to combine those two words and like learn things that are applicable that I can use to build whatever it is that I want to build works very well. And I think the university, especially with again the co-op program, does a great job at that. They have to teach you things that will allow you to find a job or have a successful co-op term in a company where like you have to apply your knowledge, and for that you need to learn things that will be needed and applicable in a work environment at the same time. Uh, the whole ecosystem of making that happen works extremely well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Waterloo is a real place like to, finding like not only studying but also try to apply the studying and understand the purpose of why you study it. That's
Exactly.
yeah, that's very cool. And the last question is you see like the technology right now is changing like because it's actually accelerating. You see from AI there will be a singularity point where like the economic power of computer slash internet will take off like really rapidly some point in the future as the singularity point and right, because what I heard is like internet is technology is not an industry. It's the revolution of every traditional industry. So and it will have a lot of like opportunities in that area. How do you think about the future of technology in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I mean, again, we can talk about like to be hard to talk about singularity and how far away we are from it or not, of course, right? But just in general, the pace of evolution of technology, uh, and you got to the point on your question itself, right? Initially, technology was uh, an area, like a skill set, right? Like that a few people started to learn, but we got to it got to be a revolution. Like today, technology is used by every industry, and everybody needs to know how to use a computer or a mobile phone, right? And it wasn't the case 10 years ago, and like obviously this will keep evolving. And I mean that's how we built Faire, if you think about it, right? Like before the companies that were built using technology were technology companies like that enabled technology to be more widespread. But now there is still like huge gaps, especially in industries that move slower and are not as well connected to technology, larger corporations, that there are so many areas where you can like they are in the dark of technology or they have very little of it, and you can like shed the light of technology in an area and you can revolutionize it. You can make it way more efficient. You can add a lot of value to the players in the ecosystem. That's exactly what we did with Faire, right? We got an industry that for many years operated with very little technology. People were like being very inefficient, like traveling to trade shows in order to meet products, to find products, or waiting for salespeople to drive by and show you products. And we found a way to use technology to add value, like connect people to great products without them having to ever leave their house, uh, and like removing a lot of inefficiencies from the ecosystem. And like I think we're just getting started. Not fair, but the world's just getting started with like really like spreading out technology across every industry and like not only industry but like day-to-day usages as well. Like things for your house and things that make your day-to-day more efficient. So it's hard to say what it's going to be like, but it's extremely exciting to see how fast this is changing, how much more of technology we have been using. Right? It's crazy that I can get into a car today and the car can drive itself already in the current traffic conditions. And like it's also mind blowing at the same time, and I believe in like very short time in the future, like most cars will be doing that, and suddenly like we don't even need to drive anymore. We'll forget that we ever drove a car, potentially. So there's again so many areas that will be extremely affected by technology still, and like so fast. It's hard to predict how fast or what is going to be the most affected area, but it's definitely extremely exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very exciting for like first year of uh like university students or every students who are like wanting to go into the tech industry, like to know like how much impact technology can make to the society and the world. So thank you for being here. It's very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. This was great.
Yeah. Bye.
Right. Okay, bye.